Welcome to Kolorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am Yukisha, and this is.
Takesha.
I was about to say speak colorfully. I do believe we speak colorfully, though.
I do believe we do too.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy that even though I came up with it and I sit next to you every week and listen to you say it, I don't know what it is.
Do you not remember it?
No, I just remember flow freely.
That's funny.
That's all I remember.
My friend comes up with, I want y'all to know, like, when you partner with a friend on something, it's really good that you all know where your
Excuse me.
strengths and weaknesses are. And my friend is very strong with, oh, girl, I just glanced at my mother's picture on that table.
Bless her heart.
My friend is very strong with writing and coming up with things. So when you all see our descriptions on our
read
YouTube.
them descriptions. I put a lot of work in it.
Yeah,
and I add journaling questions.
She does. She puts a lot of work into the description. And I know a lot of people don't read descriptions on YouTube videos, but if you read our descriptions, you'll see that she put a lot of effort into it because all I do is hit post. I used to come up with like descriptions on like social media, but once you really start doing the description,
because I started even doing them for them.
You started, and I just be like copy paste. I'm good at copy and paste, okay, and I'm good at posting because that's my thing. But yeah, my friend come up, so y'all, she spent time doing that. So y'all make sure y'all read her descriptions because she's flowing freely in her gift.
Yes.
And visit her website because today I am wearing.
Oh, look at that! I noticed it, but it was like a quick because I had so much I wanted to remember to talk to you about. Our pre-discussions.
I know. We did walk. I mean, it'd be hard to get started sometimes, but let me finish this before I get off track. Beauty.
Bougie Embrace.
Girl, I'm trying to read it
from my Embrace Bougie collection.
It's from her Embrace
Bougie. On
Bougie,
my website, the link to get to it.
www.takeshabanks.com. Yes, we promoting her business today. And hopefully we promote it all the time in some type of way. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? And I know you told me about TikTok. This is probably a sidebar, but I'm gonna set that up.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But
let me tell you, I'm not consistent. I was thinking about this actually a couple of days ago. Like I wanted to tell you about, probably talk about it on here. Like I'm not consistent with that either. Not the way I should be. Like I'll be doing good, and I know. I have
two. They're hawks.
I know I have the personality for a lot of things, but I'm not consistent with the things that I have the personality for. The only thing, one of the main things, I won't say the only thing, one of the main things I've been consistent with is doing this podcast.
I agree, and completely, because there's plenty of things that I could be doing and I'm not consistent. I easily fall off. I feel like, and let me know if you feel this way too, because even though this is something we committed to, and this part is more for me because I can commit to something and back out and will give zero cares.
Right.
But I feel like we know that this is something that we enjoy doing. We know that it's helping ourselves and others.
Yes.
But more importantly, I feel like we're each other's accountability partner in this.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you have those single projects,
it's hard.
You don't have an accountability partner, so it's easy to drift away from it, even when it's your passion.
Even when it's your passion, and don't get me wrong, I love a lot of things, but I'm also careful not to become a all over the place person. I think that's one of the things too is I'm careful is when I started doing like the content stuff, it became like one of my main focuses, and I don't like that. I want it to be what the word you say, balance with it. I don't want something to become almost an idol for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta do this. I gotta do this for this to happen, or I gotta, do. Even when we started the podcast, and you could tell me if you agree. I would like watch it back multiple times and be constantly looking at how many views and how many this and it. And now I just
You
do it.
did. I do remember that.
Yeah,
I
and
forgot about
yeah,
that.
and now
And we would also, not as much, but we would critique certain
we would
things that we
critique.
were
Yeah, we
doing.
would critique things that we were doing. We would look back and critique, and now we don't do that. I don't do that. Sometimes I don't even watch back because I know what this is for. I know, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want something to become an idol for me. I want to do it out of enjoyment. You know how we are. We want to learn something, everything we're doing. And I'm gonna get back to the content thing because I do feel like, and I think I was trying to figure out what my niche was. I'm not like a Christian, you know, content creator, but I do incorporate God in it, but I'm also a fun girl. So, a lot of times people judge that when showing your fun side, because they like, well, ain't you supposed to be? So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm careful to not let things become an idol. So I think that makes me not be consistent with some things. I'm consistent with this. I'm consistent with my business. I'm consistent with my mothering.
I am consistent with this. I am consistent with my mothering. That's it. I'm not consistent with my business. Um, I mean, my livelihood with my employer, I'm
Yeah.
consistent with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
And I mean, I ain't even 100% consistent
You
with that.
you got one foot in and one foot out. Yeah, you got
I
one.
feel like for me, and it is while we're talking about this because I did a reading for myself about focus.
Okay.
And I got the 7 of Cups. So let me just say, like in the deck that I use, imagine going to the bar and not knowing which drink you want.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like, do you want Coke or Pepsi or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or if it's alcohol where it's all the different types.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like, you're in the right setting, you're where you're supposed to be, but you have so many choices that you don't know what to pick. Do you go with what you always go with? Do you want to try something new? And I realized that was me because I have a lot of ideas constantly with writing. So I'll start one thing, and then as I'm doing it, I'll think of something else I should be writing about, and I start that, and then I don't. Or I was really consistent doing the devotions every day and reading, but then when I get into like my depressive mode,
you don't
I
do
stop
it.
away and I
Yeah.
don't do it. But now that I know, this month I did not go through the spurt with the PMDD because now that I know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
I know how to tackle it and handle it better. So I noticed that with me that I'll get away from it because I have other distractions that come, and it causes me not to be as focused.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not necessarily where I idolize something and then be like, oh, I want this and I want it to blow up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just overwhelmed and have so many choices where it's just like, okay, this is your task right now. Stay centered and focus on that. If whatever other things you were thinking about, Takesha, if you're supposed to work on that and that be a new project, it'll be there when you finish with this.
Yes, yeah, and I believe that. I believe that. So one of my prayers lately has been remove distractions so I can stay focused on whatever it is you want me to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a person. I'm not about to do 10 different things because um, something's going to fall by the wayside and not be good. It's not, and I'm not a person that I like to see people doing their thing. I do. I enjoy it. And I'm sure people probably wonder like, why Keisha ain't trying to get her own shop, or why you don't try and do it. I enjoy what I do the way I do it. Um, and like I said, I don't want something to become an idol for me where it's always about this thing. This thing is always on my mind, and this thing got to do this, or this thing got to be great,
and the perfection
the
aspect of
perfection.
it. And I
Yes.
also think too, now, because before we would record and then we would watch it together and record again. So I think that also gave us the opportunity to get in critique mode.
Yes.
Versus just listening to the message.
Yes.
and
letting it flow.
So now I only watch it when I'm going through and making the clips. Sometimes I may go back and watch it again, but I rarely sit through it and watch it over. For the most part, I only watch it like one time, not 2-3 times like before.
Like I used to. And I honestly believe that what is supposed to happen for us with this podcast is going to happen.
Everything will happen in divine timing when it's supposed to be. I also think, though, like I said, I am overly emotional, and that sometimes rules whatever I need to do. So just like the abundance book.
Yeah.
If I go open it now, I don't know what day I'm even on because I haven't read it in so long. So when I go to read it, it'll be like I'm reading a chapter book.
Yeah,
because I have to get caught up rather than a daily devotional.
I haven't read it in a couple. I haven't read it in a couple of days. Actually, I don't think I've read it in May, so I have to catch up. And that's why I said when I be praying like for distractions, because that was one of the things that I was really, and I believe it helped me with some confirmation of things with what she. So I think that I'm going to be reading it like you said, like a chapter, because I'm going to catch up.
That is my goal too, to catch up. I had wanted to ask you, but I think I have forgot. So it's wild it came
and I figured out where the books came from. Well, not who sent them to me, but I told you I got these 2 random books. So my sister went on a business trip this weekend with a client of mine who she's doing some business with now, and they had like a business meet and greet thing. And my sister took some pictures, and you know how they have tables set up with things. She took a picture of the table, and the table was of the book. And I said, "Is the lady who wrote the book there?" And she was like, "No, I think Danielle's just passing them out." I'm like, "Okay, so I'm getting closer to finding out."
Yes.
Who's sending me these books? But I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, and when she sent the picture, I'm like, "Girl, who giving these books away?" So I'm a little closer to finding out. I'm figuring out who, and I actually think it may have been the author who sent me the book, because I think I probably met her. But sending it to me twice, I'm like, "Oh, you sent it to me twice."
And I don't know why you didn't bring me one copy.
I am gonna bring you one. Takesha, you got so many books.
But I read all the time.
Really? I know you read all the time, but like, I just know you got so many books, and you go to the library and get more.
Yes, because I can't wait to go to the library today. But yeah, I could never have enough books.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you that other book, because I was like, how in the world do I got 2 of these books?
And for me, like how, and I think that's another reason why I really stopped with the abundance book. Like I said, I get in my moods where I just stop doing everything, even the things that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But what I realize is if it's not feeding me, I'm heavy on that. Yeah. So it's just like, I feel like I get to where it's just like, okay, why am I even reading this? Because I do this already. I know this.
You want something new.
Yeah. And during that part, she was talking about fashion.
But understand the abundance book, and I know you understand this, is about helping women or people, but specifically women, come into their femininity and their authentic self. So I think that part was important for
a
some.
woman to feel like a
Yeah.
woman, because that is when you step into your
Yes.
femininity,
Yes.
the way you dress
She
and
talked
looking in
about
the
it a lot.
mirror and
Yeah.
just loving yourself as is, even on the days. Because I
Yes.
remember, I think one, it was like, even if you wore sweats or something,
Yeah.
because she was like, go through the closet. But see, when it's stuff that I already know and already
Yeah.
doing and incorporating,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to read
That's
this.
not. I think that's where you lost
Yeah,
interest.
because it's like, I want something that's going to elevate me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have so many books, and that's why I'm always reading, because if I get through something, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm already doing this, I'm losing interest. But I also feel like, for me, it's almost like a form of, because I don't always think meditation is quietness.
Mm-mm.
I think it's something, for me, when I think of meditation, for me, it's a form of when I communicate with God in a way
Mm-hmm.
to make myself better. Something that is like, oh, okay. Oh, it's a form of worship for me,
Mm-hmm.
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm doing that and I'm not getting nothing to connect with the higher version of me or God, the source, is just like, oh, okay, yeah, I ain't interested in it. But I
Yeah.
definitely believe that that's why I read and study, because that, for me, and it puts me in a better mood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I told someone recently, I can't remember who it was. I was like, when I walk out the door, I said it's always a book in my car or with me. I said, well, now I ain't had to drive as much but I had a lot of idle time sitting and waiting, so I tried to remove myself from scrolling so much and would read a little bit. That's why I was just taking the abundance book with me because that was a perfect book
Yeah,
to
because I do remember you was saying that,
yeah, I
like
was
when you
taking the
were read
abundance book
waiting for
with
your
me.
daughter.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for her and I'll be, so I'm about to get back to reading that book though. I'm about to catch up
I am too. So
on the
we'll
mate.
follow up on that next week. Let me ask you something, since we was talking about her talking about, the fashion and cleaning out your closet and stuff. Do you, because I know you said before, like, your guilty pleasure is celebrity gossip and stuff. Are you still into that? But that ain't what I want to know. I was wanting to ask you, like, do you look at the looks for the Met Gala?
I do. I do. Um and I have no idea why I do not. Let me correct that. I do have an idea why I get like celebrity gossip and I look at the fashions of the Met Gala and stuff. Um because remember all the books I was reading previously was like a story.
Excuse
You know
me.
what I'm saying? It was like a story, so I can imagine it in my head. So
Mm-hmm.
when I read celebrity stuff, I know they're real people, but I also look at it like a story. Um, and that's where I kind of get my entertainment from. I know, and I don't get like on the side of when the personal stuff going on. I look at it like this stuff with Diddy. To me, it's like the next chapter in his story, and I don't know what the ending is going to be, and I'm not like all taking sides or in comments saying he did this or they did. I just read it and get entertained or get some knowledge or whatever from it. I don't look at it or idolize celebrities though.
I don't either. I and all stories, most of the time I don't even be knowing what be going
What's
on.
going on?
I
Yeah,
watch the Met Gala stuff because I'm a fashion girly at heart, but the celebrity stuff, like, I look at them as regular people, like, and we've talked about this before too,
mm-hmm.
like, they just make a gazillion amount of money more,
Yeah.
and more people know who they are, not necessarily them knowing more people.
With the Met Gala though, and their theme that they had this year, that theme that they had
Yes.
that I love, but when I look deeper into it, we was actually supposed to be, how black people supposed to boycott different stuff. The Met Gala was one of those events that was supposed to be boycotted. And, in order to keep us involved or entertained in it, then you choose black men to be the what is the
Yeah, the
producers or the
theme. Yeah,
whatever the
yeah.
theme, and then the theme of it is dandyism and black tailored suits and things. So I was like, oh, they know how to get us. They know how to reel us back on in, and I guess it's exciting for new artists or new celebrities that probably have never been
Then,
invited. You know, they said that I said they, and every time one of my family members say they, I'd be like, who is they? Anytime my mom and daddy would say that, or my sister be like, they said, I'd be like, who is they? So as soon as I said it, it just clicked. But Meg the Stallion, I know who they is. It's the people that was on social media said Meg the Stallion was in her stories and she stuck her phone in the Met Gala. And you're not supposed to have a phone. And she was doing little videos saying with white celebrities saying, I snuck my phone in, doing little videos to them. But what she was showing us was how
I love her, by the way.
Yeah, how they do their bouginess. And she was sarcastic. They didn't know she was being sarcastic. But she was like showing, y'all look at this. Like this is so stupid. And I haven't seen the videos. I've just heard some people talk about it. So I'm gonna have to go on her stories and see.
Yeah,
but
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she snuck her phone in and she was saying she'll put her arm around people. I snuck my phone in and it happened in her video. And it was all white people. So yeah, but yeah, I do watch that, and I be like, God, this ain't wrong, is it? Because I like celebrity gossip, or celebrity news. I shouldn't say gossip.
Yeah,
news.
It's just news. It's just a different kind of form of news. It's a different kind of entertainment. That what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I don't think it's anything.
But I don't. But I don't. I don't
because you don't obsess over it. No. You're not in the comments because people get real obsessive and they start. I may come to my own little personal conclusion or whatever. Yeah,
but I don't get in the comments.
But I don't get even overwhelmed with that. And the only reason why I do that is because I listen to. Okay, and my celebrities really are only musicians. Yeah. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
But because I be listening to the lyrics and I be like, so it's a fine line between what I be wondering is what part of this is entertainment and what part of this is true. So when certain stories come out, that's when I really be wondering. But other than that, I'm the same way. Like that is news. And before 5 minutes later, I done forgot what then went on because it ain't got nothing to do with my life. I'm not about to be in the comments defending nobody.
Girl, that part, I'll be like, why are they in the comments arguing about this, going back and forth? I don't say nothing. I don't get involved. First of all, I not only don't comment on celebrity stuff, I don't comment on people I know stuff. I'll say happy birthday or congratulations, but if somebody, bring forth a topic or anything, I'm a good scroll on by person.
And I have recently been commenting on TikTok, which is something I normally don't do. But then when I was getting the notifications of people liking my comment, I was like, I ain't never commenting again because I hate notifications. What was I about to say?
I said I was a scroll on my person.
Sometimes I comment, but then I was just like, I have come to terms with that stuff bothers me. So I have to stop scrolling in general. I have to be really intentional about whose stuff I look at and whose I don't. And now like Facebook, it be so many things from people that you don't even follow and know. Like the algorithm on social media is insane.
It is.
But because I don't know, when I feel a certain way about something, I think it's law. And that's a problem because it's not law. It's just my opinion. And because I think it's law, I get so worked up. And then I be like over the top because my law ain't the other person's law. And it's, like, and I hate to say this, but I am. You know how Christians act like their religion may be the only one. Mm-hmm. And I say that because I don't, and maybe it's just because I haven't seen it. I'm saying in my world, I don't see other religious people attacking other people when they have different beliefs as much as in Christianity. So
the attacks bother you.
Yeah. So I feel like when I believe something is law, I'm no different than them. I want to attack. So I had to tell myself, be intentional and pay attention because this is just your fact.
Yeah.
That it's not there. So keep scrolling and move on with your life. And because I don't know how to keep scrolling and move on with my life, I just get off of it.
And see, I'm opposite of that. I don't I don't get worked up on somebody's belief not being my belief or vice versa or whatever. I don't get upset, and I'm not getting in the comments to discuss it with people or try to prove
To your
myself
point,
or
yeah.
my point and argue their point. I'm not giving it no energy.
Yeah,
I'll read their comments and be like, that's how they think. Oh, okay, and keep on moving.
This was something that I didn't realize this about me until within the last week or so.
Really?
Because I was just like, why am I so triggered? And I was like, oh, it's because you think your own opinion is the actual fucking law. And that's when I realized that. And I'm like, overall, when I think about me as a person, I don't think that I'm like that, because I honor people's different opinions. I like to engage in the conversation because it may be something that they may say that I may pick up. You know what I'm saying? Because even when I think about it, comparing it to like religion, it's so many different religions on things that I pick up and I incorporate in my life as a spiritual person.
But it's a lot of things that people think are religions, like that video I sent you, and it's not. When I sent you the one about Buddhism, and I was like, I didn't know this.
But again, I think it's because that's the thing, and people don't understand like the meaning behind certain things. Like people will say, like with yoga, with the stretching and all of that. So even if this was a form of whatever, but you take it and you using it as the body movement, you can exercise. I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is there's certain things that you can make your own definition for.
Yes.
And I am not like that overall, but I realize when it's certain things that I feel strongly about, I become like that. Which is why I can see people who feel strongly about their religious
y'all doing
beliefs.
the same,
but in different areas. So now that I recognize it, I was just like, oh, I have to start loving from a different capacity.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. That's what it So I'm loving from a different capacity. Just because this is my thing and I don't do it, I cannot make it the law that anybody else shouldn't do it.
I've been reading in Romans. I know you read Romans. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, because every day I had to tell myself I live on 828.
Yes.
Every day.
But also he was talking about how people be stuck on what they think the law is or was. And when it come down to it, God love all of us the same, whether you believe this law or that law. And that's
why I was like, it just comes down to a loving capacity.
Yours don't make you no better because you're this. And when I was reading it, I'm like, and then again, I always wonder, have these people read this?
Excuse me, because let me ask you this. When you started reading the Bible from the beginning, at no point did you come across different types of religious instructions?
No. The instruction has been the
instructions
same.
Are how we are supposed. They're more behavioral.
Their behavior, their moral,
yes,
their character, their love, not rules.
Yes.
Because, and this is what I got clarity on reading this week, is your character and your moral character is going to help you follow what you think your law is anyway. Not that I got to follow this law, because your law, you following your rules, and it takes you out of character. Like you say, you get triggered, you get mad, you know what I'm saying? So I'm clear on how he wants me to be, how I'm supposed to behave. And doing that is going to help me follow not the law, but how I'm supposed to be.
A better moral compass. Yes. Because like I said, in what is it? Is it in Malachi where it tells us where the long suffering and all of that, where the verses, where the characteristics of how we're supposed to be?
Yeah.
Kind, not nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because Jesus was kind.
Yes. Yes, because he flipped the table, so he wasn't nice.
He wasn't nice. And he would go off on you.
Yeah.
When I read how he would go off, I'm like, oh, he was letting people have it. Like, okay, let me tell
Yeah,
you
so
this.
I have to act from a loving capacity in all areas of my life.
Yesterday, was it yesterday? A friend of mine called me, speaking of being kind and nice, called me, and they start off a conversation like, I just want to thank you, even though you were very mean when you said it. I said, I was mean? Oh, you're not talking about me. They was like, yeah, you was very mean when you said it. And when it went back to what it was about, I was like, she said, you know, because we've talked about you and my sister in our podcast, how people think y'all mean. And I would probably say my sister was the mean sister. My sister always say, no, people don't know you, Keisha, that you are the mean sister. And this friend said that, like, you are the mean sister. And I was like, how could you say that? So when she went into saying the scenario, what happened between us, I said, I probably was mean during that point. I said, but think about what I was saying to you. It was coming from a place of love, and you're calling me to thank me because what I said to you helped. I said, but you're probably used to me being just appearing nice.
From
But
the people pleasing.
from the people
Now you're in
pleasing.
alignment.
Yes, and I'm not going to sugarcoat things.
Authentic. That's the word. I didn't want
Yeah,
to say alignment. You're
yeah,
authentic.
and I told her, I said, and it also happened during a time when I was having a spiritual awakening within myself. So I had to come hard and tell you, this is what you have to do or need to do. And it's helped. And I told her, I apologize for it seeming mean to you or being mean to you. But I'm also glad that you called me to thank me, because now a year or so later, we still been talking all this time, but she let me know, like, you were very mean. And I had to think about that, like, I don't think I'm mean, but now that I'm not in my people pleasing stage in my life, it's going to come off probably like Jesus did people. I'm going to go hard and let you know, especially, and I'm going to back it up with, because I'm not going to be like, this my law. I'm gonna back it up scripture wise, or logically, why this should happen, or why I believe you should do this or whatever. So yes.
And that makes me think about me and Tanya. And I know, like, I was called mean a lot from my facial structure too, because I don't necessarily have a soft tone with my face, and sometimes with things that I say. But I think with her and our people pleasing came in different areas of our life.
Y'all were trying to please our parents more than anything.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times when we would talk to people, we are more direct.
Mm-hmm.
So like, to this day, it's still like, well, that was rude. And I would say this all the time. The truth ain't rude. It's the truth. And I said this to you before in the podcast, and you was just like, well, maybe it's how you said it. But I was just like, it's the truth. The truth ain't rude. But that's the thing, is I forgot my train of thought on that.
No,
sometimes the delivery of it, but sometimes people do think that it's mean, but it really is the truth, and it's helpful. Your feelings can, a lot of times, the things that we need to work on and change about us hurts our feelings, so it feels like it's mean.
Mm-hmm.
The truth hurts. I'm pretty sure that that's a saying that I didn't just make up.
It's not. The truth hurts. The truth is not always words or how somebody say it. The actions, the realization of things. The truth can hurt, but how you deal with that truth is, So when I told her the truth, it probably hurt it and stung, but I think how we said it maybe last week, she sat with herself.
Yes.
And now we can begin to have a conversation on a different level because of that. Because I was like, oh girl, something awakened in me, and I during that time, and I really had to share that with you, and it probably came off as mean, but it was very direct. It was very direct. So, because I think mean could be like cussing somebody out, or I didn't do that. I didn't. No, but I
And that's
am.
another thing too. Like, we all have different understandings of certain things. Because I'm a straight shooter. So when somebody else come to me as a straight shooter, I don't think that is mean. Like, tell me what it is. You ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? Now, I do have an area of my life that's very sensitive. So I really only talk about that with select people
Yeah.
because it don't matter how you say it, I may take it a certain way and come
Yes.
for you because I'm sensitive in that
Yeah.
area of my
Yes.
life. So
Yes.
but a lot of times,
And I think with that sensitive area of your life, I think I always ask you like, can I tell you what I think about it, or can I share with you? But and you'll be like, okay, what? Because I know how I am in that area, so I'm like, can I say this?
yes, yes. It's just like, let me be mindful of what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's something else too that we may need to do in more areas with people because
Yeah.
we know you know what I'm saying? But people don't always know that. So maybe sometimes it's nothing wrong with saying like, okay, like how sometimes I'll be like, do you want my 2 cents? Or you know what I'm saying? Or are you just venting to me because I really got something that I can
What?
say. You may not like it though.
Listen, when you vent to me on a text, and it will be, not only can she write, her text messages can be 3 paragraphs long. And my reply could be one line.
Yes. Yes. And I do not care. I'm not even one of those people when it be like, you know how they be like, don't be sending him them long texts. I don't send no man no long texts.
No.
Okay, but my friends, you might have to scroll
And
over.
you'll be like, I'm about to vent, and at the end, I'll probably be like, okay. I don't know what to say back. Sometimes I'll say something back, but sometimes I just don't be like, okay, she just vent. She just need to get that out. But girl, you be having a lot, and I'll be like, she got to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I don't vent enough. Maybe and this is maybe a flaw that I have, because I don't want to say hold in a lot of my thoughts on different things. But I think I do, because I just be like, it's gonna work out, whatever. It's gonna work out. I vent on very few things, and even when I vent, it'll be a little vent, and then I'm done. I mean, I vented to you about 4 seconds today, and that was it. But I probably should vent more, because I think when you hold things in, that's when you explode.
Yeah, I agree. And I think sometimes too, what we need to understand is because let me ask you this: do I vent a lot?
No, you have seasons of venting.
Okay, because I'm thinking sometimes I feel like it's just a release.
Yeah,
Like,
that
and
and
I think
yes,
sometimes when people think venting is always a negative to it,
yeah,
like you're talking about something or you want to explode. But sometimes I think you just need to release it. Not that you even looking for anything back,
that
but just to get it off your
yeah,
chest with your confidant. It
yes.
just makes you feel
Because I don't always
better.
say anything back, because I know you just getting it out, but I don't. I probably don't get out enough for me, because I probably can hold some stuff and be like, you know what,
I
whatever.
used to be like that.
Really?
I used to be like that where I held so much in.
Do you feel better after
And
you
then I
release it?
feel like I would, okay, think about this. You know, and I'm sure if you haven't had this situation directly, the people that explode on the person closest to them, when it be like that, the issue wasn't even that big.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's an indicator of some things that you need to release
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
because now you've released it on someone And not saying that this person didn't do anything wrong, but you're releasing all of your emotions on this. When maybe those other little things that were trickling before, you needed to just let it out. So I noticed that I would blow up. And the thing about me is when I get mad, I get scary mad. Where it's just like I'm risking my freedom mad. And the last time I realized that, I was just like, oh, I never want to be this mad again.
Yeah.
Because if I would have executed the thoughts that were in my head, we would not be sitting here today. So yeah. I don't want to get that mad. So I need to stop holding everything in from work, family, friends, parenting, my own insecurities. Nah,
you let it out.
This is probably why I get to the point to where I feel like I'm oversharing.
Yeah, because you let it out.
Because now I'm letting everything out, but I feel freed in the mud.
And maybe that's why I don't overshare. My sister said in the comments on that episode, like, Keisha, don't overshare. I don't. I probably hold more in than I need to. And maybe that's why I keep getting that book. Because the book said, the title of it was like hidden depression. Not that I feel depressed, but that you can hide things and just deal with them on your own. And I don't really release things. Not that I got a lot of things to release, but like when I do have to vent, a lot of times I don't release it. Like I said, it could be 2 seconds.
And I believe it's levels to depression. Like, you can be depressed, but you cannot be diagnosed as clinically
depressed. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to read that book and see if it's talking about me.
Yeah, but sometimes I really believe that, you know what I'm saying, releasing it and getting it out, because that's why a lot of times when we come on here, I feel so much better afterwards. Like, I be a renewed person.
Maybe that's why I feel pretty good too, because I do get on here and talk and, talk about things. And you got to have people that you can talk to. All friends.
Listen, and if y'all don't, you can book a session with either one of us. How about that?
Don't try to make me no spiritual counselor.
Listen, I ain't saying you got to be the spiritual counselor, but you know what I'm saying?
Yesterday,
book a session and get your makeup done. You say how you be ministering to people. You ain't got to be the spiritual counselor.
My client yesterday, we were in full ministry mode, and she was just like, I really wish I had booked you for our women's conference this year. She said, I didn't know you when we were planning, but I'm going to keep you in mind for next year. And I said, girl, I won't speak on that. But I was, we was talking about kids and how I told her that the things that I do or how I raise my kids, people probably really wouldn't really agree with, and I do it because when I was younger, I wanted to know why, and everything was just like, it's wrong. God said it's wrong, and you ain't supposed to do that. And I just didn't understand that until that is not how you're supposed to teach us, because we didn't stop. So I was in full ministry mode with her, and she was just like, more people need to. I don't be even thinking somebody more needs to hear it until somebody else tell me that. Like, more people need to hear what you're saying about this. And I'm like, well, hey, I'm just working in my house right now. I got to get them two kids together. I got to get them kids together. But yeah, book a session with.
Listen, if you're a spiritualist, okay, because I ain't for everybody. And that's why I say it's levels. You know what I'm saying? It's levels to it.
It is levels.
It's levels to it.
It's levels to it. When I sent you that video of the young lady who said she was at was she at a wellness resort or something, and she was raised Christian, and she was so raw with it. Like, why y'all ain't tell me that Buddha was just a subject? Y'all had me thinking it was a person people was worshiping, and all they doing is teaching us how to meditate and go within and learn how to relax. And I was like, is that what it is? Because I was learning too. Like, what? And she was like, I need to just start learning on my own because y'all giving us all wrong information.
And I believe as a society that is where the blockages comes in, because with you being a very inquisitive child asking why, and most children at certain stages go through that, and then parents shut it down. And this is why their beliefs become our beliefs, because the why was never explained. And you're not presented, not always, but most times you're not presented with information on why the why is actually the why. Like I said, it's not explained, or you don't have information to study on your own. You see what I'm saying? So if you were asked, well, why this? And it was just like, just because, or shut up, move on. This is what we're doing. You never got an understanding. So you're doing things out of routine, not necessarily because this was your belief or what you was it's just what was instilled in you, and it became your belief out of routine because you never got the why on behind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's different things, with the religion and different like the Buddhism and stuff. But I mean, it saved Tina Turner life.
It did, because she was basically meditating. She was learning how to meditate and connect with herself, and even saying connect with yourself. People like, why you got to connect?
For me, what does that mean to you? Let me ask you that. Connect with yourself. What does that mean to you?
For me, it was like when I really released and forgave myself first, and became authentically, or learned who I was authentically. So I handle situations differently now. And now sometimes I can feel when I start to get a little tense, and I just kind of stop in the moment where I am, and just kind of breathe and be like, Keisha, you got this, relax. Or, I just connect with myself, and everybody I know is different, but I just can relax and breathe and reset my day. Grounding, I'll go outside, get some fresh air, breathe in, how I'll be looking at the clouds. But it resets me. So it helps me connect with a more positive energy. And yeah, I don't think anything is wrong with that. I don't think that's taken away from my relationship with him, because he created all of that.
See, when I say connect with myself, for me, it is I am going on the inside. So I am literally analyzing what something was that was a trigger, how I could have handled that situation better. It brings me into calmness to where I can hear the Holy Spirit clearly and talk to me about what I'm supposed to do, what I didn't do, what I should have done. So in that moment, my mind never goes blank, so to speak, but it slows down.
Yeah.
And like you said, the reset is the reset, but going in for me is definitely how I connect with the person who I want to be, which is when they say higher self, the person who I want to be. And I'm not necessarily saying that from like, I want to be, because I say this every week, the future wife, I'm not saying that from future wife. I'm just saying that,
who you want to be
I want to be in my femininity to become that.
Yes.
So if this version of me, where I'm at today, what do I need to change to get to that? So that's why I feel like meditation, connecting with yourself, being still, is important to do every day, because it's a reset. Like
Yeah.
I feel like those daily routines, and I notice with me, and that's how, you know, I feel like the devil triggers me by pulling me out of those
Yeah.
routines.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because even if your daily routine is listening to music, if you're vibing high, you're
Mm-hmm.
connecting with yourself and it's bringing in the better version of you.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that what you're saying about how you connect with yourself, I believe that I probably do that as well. And like I know you probably do it daily. I do it daily as well. Like how am I going to um be better in everything? um, Situations, because I intentionally try to watch my conversations with people because certain conversations can take you back,
Mm-hmm.
and being that I work with a lot of people in the public, it's easy for me to go back. So I have to intentionally um, stay in that same mode, and it's not always easy. But once you learn how to, meditate and be authentically who you are supposed to be, it becomes easier as time goes on. So I don't have like them, ratchet conversations or anything like that because that's not who I am.
And honestly, I don't necessarily think, I think that that's when alignment comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's the I don't chase, I attract. I
Yes.
believe that when you are living authentically, whatever version that is at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
you will attract that same type of energy and it
Mm-hmm.
keeps you in alignment. And sometimes what you attract are lessons to help you elevate. And it's just how you handle it. So it's that ratchet conversation lesson. It ain't saying that it ain't gonna never appear, but it's how am I gonna handle it? Am I going to engage in it and keep
Yes.
going?
Yes.
Or am I going to remove myself and switch it? Because one thing I can say is, and if anybody, I'm gonna tell you what celebrity I feel like has this down pat, Sierra.
Mm.
Watch some of her interviews that she does. She knows how to redirect or speak longer to make it where it be like, no, we not going down that rabbit hole where you
Mm.
thought I was about to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So
I gotta pay attention to that.
when you watch certain interviews with certain people and the way that they talk, it's like I'm shifting this to make sure that I keep my power.
Yes, that part. Wow. Yeah, that's good. Or don't do interviews like Beyonce.
Yeah.
'Cause-
And I think another thing is, and I think really like when celebrities start out, I think they do more so because it's the publicity
they gotta
aspect.
talk.
Yeah. But then when you get to that certain level, you really don't have to. But then there's Prince,
Mm-hmm.
who he wasn't doing none of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's
This is we coming on a close, but this is so wild. Yesterday, my sister sent me a clip of Michael Jackson back in the day going to Northland Mall.
did he really? Can you send me that? I want to see
I
that.
sure will.
Really?
Yes.
I want to name another person, a man that stands within his power, and um, is you can feel the positive energy all around him. Lenny Kravitz.
Oh yeah.
Lenny Kravitz. Yeah. He absolutely, and I think he's been abstaining for like 9 years
I was
as
about to say
well.
I have some mixed views on him, but I definitely agree with that. I ain't gonna go in my mixed views right now. We'll say that after.
I was gonna say tell me later, but he has a positive energy to where he just so yeah, I'm working on that. I'm working on that.
But yes, y'all release,
And y'all, there's nothing wrong with saying
release and
you're a
reform.
spiritual person.
That's gonna be the name of this one. Release and
Release and
reform.
reform. Yeah, yeah. It's nothing wrong with because a lot of folks, and this will start a whole nother conversation, but it's nothing wrong with saying you're spiritual at all. It's nothing wrong with that.
I think that sometimes it gets a bad rep because I believe that a lot of people, and we are living proof of this, because we are both spiritual, but we have different practices.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times when people who practice like hoodoo and voodoo, and things like that, that they're grouped into being spiritual, and it all becomes where it's just this
Negative.
demonic label on it.
Yeah.
Because I am a hoodoo girly.
Do you know that I read the definition of that yesterday? I have no idea why I read it. And I was like, this is not what I thought it was going. Now I had a better understanding. I was like, plant herbs, spiritual practices. I was like, okay.
And that's the thing. When people don't have an understanding, because you probably, not saying this, I'm just using this as an example. If you never got the why, if you don't understand what it is, if you haven't researched and looked at the information, you just dump it into the spirituality. It's witchcraft. It's negative when it's like when demonic. When we can use everything. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
We can turn anything into negative and make it witchcraft and demonic. But
yeah,
if I'm about to sprinkle some herbs.
Yeah, and now that's what I have no idea what made me look it up. I was Google Queen. And it's funny you brought that up because I literally looked up the definition, read some research, and probably because of a video I saw or something. And I said, oh, okay. So everything that's practiced under it, I'm not really, but the basis of it, I was like, oh.
And it's a lot of things that people do regularly that they were raised from that falls under that they don't even know, because
I mean, like holistic medicine.
Yes.
It was like I had a better understanding. So I started looking because after the girl's video talking about Buddha, and I was like,
I think that's why a lot of times like spiritual people get that bad rep, is because of those type of things that is incorporated. But everybody that's spiritual don't.
Yeah. God is a spirit. That scripture say God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Yes, I just think now it's just new age where we have to put a label on everything when we could just be free with no labels. My label that my mother gave me is Takesha Banks. That's who I am. Period.
And on that note, we would like you all to
Takesha Banks, dad's future wife, husband, last name. I gotta manifest this on every episode. God. I'm sorry, y'all.
You're gonna get that husband talk in. You're gonna get it in.
I'm gonna get it in. Listen, and look, my whole body language shifts. Oh, I do that.
Yeah, and listen, I said, and listen again, child. Every time now I say it. Next week she may not want a husband. You know who manifested my new husband? If I want one, my ex-husband.
That is hilarious. We about to hear.
Because I'm gonna say this. One of the last mean things he said to me was, "That's why you gonna be divorced with." He was trying to dog me and my sister, and they said it's gonna be like 6 husbands. And I was like, "Oh, so he know I'm trying to get another husband."
Ain't nothing wrong with getting some love. Okay,
right.
Until you get it right.
We want y'all to like, listen, subscribe, share. We're gonna start going live. We haven't decided our schedule, but we'll be starting going live, and we'll let y'all know when we going live, so y'all can tune in, get questions in the comments, and talk to us live directly, because that's gonna be fun.
That is. I'm excited for that.
Actually, we might go live when we leave here because we got to go somewhere. So we'll see y'all next week.